Hello everyone and welcome to Channel 18 TV News. I'm Don Julian. In the news, Nathan and June Kirkpatrick Finke recently signed an endowment agreement with Texas A&M Commerce that will benefit nursing school students. The Dr. Omer F. and Nell Kirkpatrick Endowed Scholarship is the third endowment that the couple has established at Texas A&M Commerce. The Finkes have named each of the three endowments after their late parents who valued education highly. According to Oscar Aguilar, a committee has arranged for music, food, and the flavor of Mexico to be enjoyed and celebrated in downtown Sulphur Springs on Saturday, May 4th. Activities begin at noon and will continue until midnight. At least a dozen musical acts will be entertaining throughout the Cinco de Mayo festival. A Florida truck driver was arrested Wednesday afternoon in Hopkins County for allegedly stealing a vehicle belonging to the company from which he had just been fired. The truck driver was taken into custody by a sheriff's office lawmen just after 5:30 p.m. Wednesday on the North Service Road of I-30. Deputies initially went to an I-30 trucking business in Brashear because of a report of an ex-employee causing a ruckus and being combative. As they headed to the business, deputies were told the man had just stolen one of the company's commercial vehicles. The lawmen reported seeing a man driving a vehicle matching the description of the stolen one. They detained him. The man reportedly said that he was not going to be treated like a dog. Company officials told officers that the man had been fired but was offered a ride to the bus station. 36-year-old Jonas Ailes Sindra of Newport Richey, Florida, was charged with unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, and his bond was set at $10,000.
You are invited to be part of a symposium on Thursday, May 2nd at Sulphur Springs Country Club. Christus Trinity Mother Frances Hospital and Hopkins County Chamber of Commerce are putting on the symposium called Caring for Your Aging Parents. You'll need to register. Let's find out more.
Kind of do something we've never done before, but it's an educational evening. We're calling it a symposium where it's going to go over the process of care for aging parents. And this all kind of came to be that Holly Reagan and I were sitting at lunch one day talking about we had just personally had some experiences where with aging parents we were learning a lot of new things we just didn't know about, even both coming from a medical field. And so we decided, it would be a really great opportunity to offer to our community. It is just for siblings and family members of aging parents to be able to come. It's a panel discussion that they're going to listen to with doctors and social workers that kind of go through the process of, it's a flow chart of, things that might happen with aging parents. And then in addition to that, there will be booths and businesses represented that are directly related to this topic, the process of care for aging parents. And so you can gather information and make connections that way so that you're able to just do maybe a little bit of preliminary planning with your siblings and family members. So
this is very, very important.
It's just one of those things that nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody really wants to learn about it. And in your mind, you kind of think, I'll just deal with that when the time comes that I need to deal with it. If you could take even just a preliminary step forward in the planning process, it's just a really helpful thing to do, I would say.
So, yes, to what Leslie's saying, I think, those of us that have aging parents and or they're already gone, this is really about not only if you're facing a crisis right now, but it's about, just thinking about and preparing before that event happens, before a hip fracture happens, where all of a sudden your lifestyle needs to change because of the impact that it has on your parents. And so, we're going to have a social worker, Michelle Jackson from the hospital there. We're going to have a case manager, Dana Adams, one of our case managers, will be there to talk about the process. And then our physician is going to be Dr. I.L. Balcom, who has agreed to come and talk about, from a physician perspective, what he sees in his patients and some advice that he may have for families that are starting to go through this process. You don't want to wait till a significant event happens. If there's ways that we can all prepare ourselves when something happens to our families, it puts us in a better place to handle some of those unexpected things, whether it's their health care needs, their social needs. Can they still live by themselves in an independent manner, or are they going to need assistance from that standpoint? And it's really about reducing the burden, whether it's financial, the stress, and just preparing us with knowledge about the future of what our parents or even we will all face as we age.
Absolutely.
The generation, our generation has come that will, there's so many of us with a parent that has lived long enough to be in this kind of care.
Right.
Be facing this. And you brought up something, Leslie, that I think is so important, the preliminary planning. So let's say one of the siblings lives here with the parent nearby, the others live far away.
That's right.
To get them to see what you see on a daily basis.
That's right.
This is a preliminary step.
It's just opportunity, even if it just broke the ice for a family to start saying, hey, we may need to start talking about this. And it may be 10, 20 years down the road. Maybe that would be the case, but it's good to go ahead and start having those conversations now, just so that it's something that it becomes a little easier to talk about.
When you look at the population segments, our biggest, and you split that out, you've heard about millennials and some of the younger generation, but the biggest, amount of people that's coming, to age is really the baby boomer population. And with, the older generation above them, so it's a huge, fast amount of swing in population where the needs for, people getting older and as we become senior citizens, it's very important for us to understand how to navigate, I believe, some of those processes, and it can be very daunting.
For people to attend this, and let's address this first, at the country club on Thursday.
That's right.
What is the process there?
So it'll be Thursday, May 2nd, and we'll have it from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock out at the country club. And there is an Eventbrite link that you will have to log into. If you kind of maybe aren't savvy with that kind of thing, you can always call into the chamber and we can help you get registered. So we can always take care of that. What that does involve, though, registering, it's free of charge for people to come and attend, but we just have very limited availability. And so we'll need you to register just so that we can expect you. It's a sit-down dinner out at the country club while the panel is talking and kind of conversing back and forth. And so just go ahead, register, come on out there. You can sit there and eat dinner, listen to the panel, and then walk through the booths. And in addition to that, the Architects Council of Governments Area on Aging is going to be there with what they call the Dementia Experience. And so that is for people, anybody can do that, and they will kind of show you in a little exercise what it's like for an older person dealing with dementia and what it feels like to do that. And I've just heard from everybody that I've talked to that it is a very eye-opening experience. So we're definitely going to plan to do that. And that will be open probably even a little earlier, and you can go throughout the entire evening to do that right there at the club as well.
What it feels like, looks like, and sounds like.
That's right, because it's a whole experience. And so I love that they've been able to kind of just make it so that it's just eye-opening, and that you think to yourself, I didn't know, but then it's that whole other step of understanding. Oh, I didn't realize. And so it's just one of those things that I don't know that we process all the way until you really get a chance to experience it. So
not every one of our aging parents face dementia.
That's right.
But a large number do, and I'm glad that the Architects Council is bringing that.
Yeah, I think it'll be good.
I think our hope is, we've already had a tremendous response that we feel like this is so important that it'll probably be kind of the first step, and that we do this more in the future, and that we can get more people involved. And so I'm really pleased that we're able to partner with the chamber in providing this for our community.
Okay. So 6 o'clock, be there by 6 when you are already registered and you know that you're on the list.
That's right.
And, there's a seated dinner.
Yes.
The panel, and you mentioned a social worker, a
case manager.
Okay.
So the case manager, they from our perspective, they do a great job on the placement factor, understanding, well, my age one loved one may not be ready for this level of care, but maybe they need to go to this level of care. And then the social worker, they deal with the behavioral side of what's going on within that family and how to address those needs appropriately. And then obviously you want to know from a practicality standpoint and from a medicine standpoint, what is out there in helping to take care of the patients if they are at a point that they need some help in that direction as well.
The brochure, and many of you may see the poster around. You're invited, The Process of Care, a guide to caring for aging parents, and that's what will be presented on Thursday, May 2nd at the Sulphur Springs Country Club. And it uses this wording, the caring for aging loved ones can be stressful and overwhelming. And you may not see that as the maybe stages are starting, but you will benefit from this discussion.
Absolutely. I think overwhelming, it's a great word and probably such an understatement. It doesn't really wrap it all into that word. And so I feel like, if we can go ahead and get started with whatever you can, it's a benefit.
Mm-hmm. So the dinner and listening to the panel of 3 different speakers, and then being able to visit the information booths with healthcare professionals there?
That's exactly right. So we've got some, quite an array. We have insurance companies and home health and nursing homes, hospice, just funeral home, the whole thing. I mean, from the start of it all the way to the finish of it, it's just so much planning that would need to take place. But if we can just offer up a piece of education that would offer peace of mind somewhere along the way, we felt like that was a benefit to Hopkins County.
I know that it is a benefit to Hopkins County, and so many people are sort of facing this in a personal way. Maybe they are keeping it to themselves.
Sure.
This is something that our community needs to be educated in.
Absolutely.
Yes, when all of us, I still have one of my parents living, but when you go through this, and I lost my mom to cancer, and for 4 years, it was something that us and my 2 siblings had to deal with, that we had no background, we had no education about, dealing with a parent that hit that stage where she had, after her surgery, she had to relearn everything, just like you're raising a child. And, how do you deal with that and the stress it puts on you, and how can you make not only their lives better, but that you don't feel helpless, and that you feel like you can make a difference in your parents' life and those around you.
Plan to attend this on Thursday, May 2nd at Sulphur Springs Country Club, a delicious meal.
Yes, absolutely. That's a chef's pick, so he's going to get to kind of decide what we're going to have. I will say this about the country club, though. It's always delicious, so no worries there.
And networking with others who may be in the very same place that you are.
Absolutely.
In this journey with our aging parents.
That's right.
Thank you both for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
In sports, a big part of spring football is developing offensive and defensive linemen. That's what Coach Greg Owens says. Jeremy Offutt is responsible for putting together the Wildcats' offensive line. It's something he says he enjoys. He says he really likes it when people don't think that his linemen are going to be very good. He says that drives them. There have been a few spring workouts so far, but Coach Offutt already likes what he's seeing from his guys. He likes the competition, and Coach Offutt says he thinks the guys could be really good up front this year. They're young for the most part. Coach Offutt says he has 4 that will be seniors next year. The rest will either be juniors or sophomores. He likes their mentality that makes them want to get after people. He says they also take coaching well and they listen. Coach Offutt says they want to find a way to win. He likes the fact that they're always asking him questions about their job. He says he works hard to notice his linemen when they do things well, because he says he surely notices when they foul something up. Coach Offutt played high school and college ball as an offensive lineman, and was also on a pro football roster briefly. He says he really likes coaching high school kids. The Como-Picton Eagles baseball team won a low-scoring district game at North Hopkins, winning 3-1 on Tuesday. The Eagles broke a scoreless tie with 2 runs in the top of the 5th inning to go up 2-0. North Hopkins got a run back in the bottom of the 6th to trim their deficit to 2-1. Then the Eagles added an insurance run in the top of the 7th inning to go up 3-1, and that's the way it ended. The Eagles out-hit the Panthers 7-5. Dylan Wiggins got the pitching win for Como-Picton, going 6 2/3 innings, allowing 5 hits and 1 unearned run while striking out 4 and walking 4. Blaine Flemons came in and got the last out and earned a save. Caleb Wyatt pitched the complete game for North Hopkins and got the loss, allowing 7 hits and 3 runs while striking out 9 and walking only 1. Jackson Monk swung a big bat for the Eagles, going 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored and 2 RBIs, and Monk also hit a home run. Flemons also had an RBI for the Eagles, and Josh Martin scored a run and got a hit. Other Eagles with 1 hit included Andrew Rasgata and also Micah Flemons and Wiggins, who had a double. The Eagles stole 5 bases, Monk stole 2, and Martin and Chris Mayfield and Blaine Flemons had 1 steal each. North Hopkins had no errors, while Como-Picton committed 3. 5 different Panthers had 1 hit apiece. Wyatt Wharton had a double. Jeffrey Stewart had a single. Wyatt had a double. Colby Cameron had a single. And Victor Rojo hit a double and had the Panthers' only RBI. Bryson Gillespie scored that lone Panthers run. North Hopkins had 2 stolen bases, 1 each for Cameron and Rojo. The 2 teams will play again Saturday, and the winner of this series will be the district champion. That's Channel 18 TV News. I'm Don Julian. Thank you for watching, and so long, everybody.